Okay, highlight video. I hate to call it a highlight video because the market has me quite a bit frustrated over this past week. I'm showing you the chart of the SPY right now, the S&P 500. And you can see these little narrow days, and also the market pretty much defying all logic as far as how strong it is. If you look at, if we just kind of draw the shape here, I made a comment on StockTwits or something like that put out my list last night of things we were watching, and on that list or in the comment that I put out, I said it's kind of tough to build a list when the market never goes down, and that's so true. You look for things that are pulling back that have been very strong, and if you're not long and just riding this up, day trading it's been difficult the past few days. I had a great week last week. This week a little bit frustrating for me, and you can look at the candles and kind of see why. Did very, very narrow days and a slow grind. Now I still stand by. I'd rather be flat every night unless I have a swing trade working in my IRA. I'd rather be flat every night and try to find intraday setups, go home and cash, no worries whatsoever. And most days that works great. The past few days have just been aggravating me to no end. Because we're just not really getting any pullbacks. Now, today, if I go to 5-minute candles, it looked like, finally, when the market was doing this, I was actually happy. I started looking for one of our favorite setups, our PFPD, our potential final push down. Unfortunately, I came up with ECA. All right, sorry about that. Came up with ECA on this push down. I love this kind of look. I was trying to bottom pick this one and called it for our chat room at 1924 with a 1911 stop. Now that trigger and stop held all day, and it did make it to 1960, but it didn't do it. Even this didn't make it easy. It's kind of aggravating market. It is. Typically, when we catch a stock like this with this kind of volume on our PFPD setups, we'll get almost a V bottom, and at least maybe, let's see, on a $19 stock, maybe a quick 40 to 50 cent move. This one gave a quick 20-cent move, pulled back, and then over the course of, 5 hours, ends up going up 40 cents. So, the market's just not acting like it normally does. Doesn't mean I didn't make money in ECA. It just, you have to either be more patient. I don't know, I find myself getting aggravated because usually what we call, works almost right away, and now you're having to kind of change your time frame. Maybe I'm just impatient and I want immediate results, like a little kid. But, most of what I call usually works right away, so it can be kind of frustrating. I got another example, ZNGA. I called ZNGA, which I'm not really into trading recent IPOs. I think I called it right here, and I'm not exactly sure. It never stopped out, right? The call was probably 1345, something like that, and I think maybe the stop 1332. I'm just guessing. I don't have them in front of me right now, but it did not stop out. And again, over the course of 4 hours, it finally got, maybe a 30 to 40 cent move. So to me, that's aggravating. What else did we call today? PSS was one that worked pretty well. PSS had this crazy move yesterday afternoon, and so when I saw it basing here, and I saw this spike, I even put this out on StockTwits in real time. If you follow me on Twitter, you should have got this too. I said if this gets to 1832, 1820 stop, this should get a decent move, and right, boom, there's the trigger. And a quick move to 1861. So almost 30 cents, on 12 cents risk, but it worked quickly. You're never in doubt once it triggered. So that theory held well. EA, another bottom feeding stock. Electronic Arts has been down after gapping up 5 days in a row now, right? So when I saw it today, I'll show you exactly what it looked like. One of my favorite setups. Again, actually, even though this didn't bounce much, whenever you can connect the tops of the candles just loosely, and then you see this shape change here. See how the shape changes and almost goes straight down on bigger volume. Typically, that's the look of intraday capitulation. You couple that with Electronic Arts after the gap up being already down its 5th day in a row. I called this on the first break of a previous 5-minute candle's high. In other words, over this candle's high, 1825 trigger, 1820 stop. I was able to take this with size because it was a nickel risk, right? And from 1825, I did sell some up here at 1837, sold some at the initial pop. Trail stopped out on the rest right here at 1829, a positive stop. That doesn't sound like much, and it ended up kind of rolling over at the end. Doesn't sound like much, but I was able to take size because of that nice, narrow, very narrow risk. Look at that beautiful 5 set up there. And really, at one point, I really did think we caught the bottom, but doesn't matter. I'm all cash now again. That might be it. A couple other stocks we were watching that were basing, tight bases, and I don't like tight bases during lunch. VSH I called early. VSH had a nice early run, put in a little lower high here using 15-minute candles, called it at 13.24 right there. Within a few minutes it was at 13.35. I got what I call sandwich money on it because shortly after this, you can see what the S&P did. Right? We already talked about this, but about 4 candles in here, the S&P just fell apart. And anytime you're in a long and the S&P rolls over, I don't ask questions, I just get out. So that was CEDC, same thing, early strength. I called it over this little red candle here, 592 with a 585 stop. Pretty quickly to 604. Okay, 12 cents doesn't seem like much, but on a $6 stock. I did get a scalp on that too. Had to go to a break-even stop after that because the market was weak. Anyway, I'm not going to babble anymore. I don't have a lot to brag about right now. Just little stuff like that. If you bring over the results page here, you can see normally if we scroll down, you can see a lot of these. Well, here's a good example. Look at First Solar, $2.85 a share on 48 cents risk. Rovi, $1.28 a share, 15 cents risk. AVL was a lower price stock, but Broadcom $1.41, 33 cents risk. Rax $1.64, 20 cents risk. These were all without stopping out, and then you can see this week as far as putting highlights up, we had SanDisk 65 cents, which I actually missed, but I called it for the room, and the idea worked out, but I was missed it. I was doing something else. I think it occurred kind of during the late lunchtime period, so I missed it. But anyway, 65 on 12. And then today, it's hard to believe, but that's what the highlight list looks like. 29 cents a share on 12 cents risk. So, we've had much better days. If you look at some of these totals down here, much better than these little prices right here. Doesn't mean this is what it's going to be like going forward. It just means we're in a period where, it's kind of an aggravating period and you're not getting big intraday moves in much of anything. So we're grinding it out right now, but pretty soon the market will change as it always does, and we'll get nicer moves. Hope to have a better highlight video in the very near future than this one. All right, have a great night. We'll talk to you guys later.